I just want to quickly talk to you about Fairfax Cryobank. They are today's sponsors. They are honestly, I consider them like friends now. I've been working with them for so long, and they're the ones that helped me have a second baby using a donor. They're incredible. They're so helpful. They have all the info that you could possibly ever need. Their customer service team is amazing. Okay, Doreen, shout out to Doreen. And everyone's lovely. And today, for being a listener or watcher over here, they're giving you 90 days of free access to donor profiles. That is a value of $149 normally, okay? When you use the code SingleMomMindset25, you can go browsing, you can get your girlfriends together, you guys could search, maybe have a little sparkling cider, little vino, whatever gets you happy, and make a really fun night out of it. Or if you prefer to do it solo, cool. You can check it all out after the video, of course. But of course, everything is going to be linked below. Single Mom Mindset 25 to get 90 days of free access. That's amazing. So thank you to our sponsors, and let's get into today's video. Hi, and welcome back. I feel like it's been 500 years since we've talked like this. It's long overdue. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes, as many of you already know, I think. But today I wanted to get into the actual cost that women are paying for waiting for the perfect partner. I still get a lot of questions from women that are considering solo motherhood or that maybe are totally against solo motherhood. And there's a lot that needs to be unpacked that I don't know everyone necessarily understands. So I want to address what I mean when I say it's expensive to wait. Like, there is a huge cost in waiting for the perfect partner as a woman. And what I mean by that is that when we're waiting for the perfect partner, what we don't realize is that in a way we're putting our life on pause. This is something that so many of us do or have done, guilty, where I kind of shelved my life and my dreams and my goals and all the things that I wanted, and I categorized them as, I'll do that once I have my partner, my person. We'll do that together, or we'll do that as a family, whatever. And that cost me a lot, and I feel like it costs women in general a lot, because when we're shelving our life and waiting for someday for some guy, we're stuck in that limbo waiting moment, and life happens so fast, and I don't think we realize it until we realize it, you know, and sometimes it can be too late. And I get so many DMs too of people saying, you know, I'm 45. Is it too late for me? Like, I wish I would have known. I wish somebody would have told me. And it's not too late. There are options, of course, which is great, but it's sad. It's sad because we all deserve to know that we have options from a really young age, because then I think more and more women would stop shelving our lives and realize that, like, finding the guy it shouldn't be the central part of our lives or our hugest goal or our biggest priority. And I think once more and more women speak about that openly and live that and show that, more people can jump on board, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, when I'm talking about what it costs you, you could eventually not be able to have kids. Like, that door could completely close, and maybe it's something that you want, but you're like, but I didn't find my person, so I guess I can't, without realizing that you have options. Or if someone tells you about solo motherhood by choice using a donor, it's like, oh my God, that's so taboo. I could never do that. For me, I have to have a partner, because we're told that you have to have a partner. We have been told that for centuries, right? So it's hard to imagine doing something different. So I get that, I sympathize, but again, what it's costing is so much more than anyone realizes. There's the financial cost. So let's say you do wait for Mr. Right. He comes, you guys, you know, he's not ready to have a baby yet. You're like, yeah, but like, time's a ticking. And he's like, yeah, you know, give me 5 years. 5 years comes, you're no longer in love with this person, things kind of crumble, and then now it's 5 years later and you're like, okay, I still don't have a baby. That's what I want. I wanted my family. What do I do now? So then it's like, rushing to date and on all the apps and it's not working, and it's like going to like, what do they call, like the speed dating things and all these things that you can go to for dating and to find your person, and you go and it's not working and there's all this pressure and it's like all this like time crunch, and oh, you missed the boat, sorry, you're not able to have a baby on your own, you're not able to carry your own child or, you know, use your own eggs. And for some people that is, once you're not able to do that, it's like, okay, well, I'm not gonna have kids, and that's okay. But had we known earlier, like, you have the options of freezing your eggs, you can, you know, use donor sperm and you can freeze embryos and have a higher chance later. It doesn't mean you have to use them now, okay? But if younger women were encouraged to take steps earlier instead of banking solely on finding Mr. Right, it would be such a different world so many of us could be living in, you know what I mean? And I just wish more people knew. Like, I wish I knew. Honestly, that's where, when I share about these things, I'm really coming from a place of, I wish somebody told me that I had options. I wish somebody would have sat me down and been like, girl, chill on the husband thing, chill on the dude thing, stop making who you're dating the center of your universe, stop making them like the thing that you orbit around, and wake up to the realization that you're literally putting all of your eggs into this man's basket. Quite literally. And if he doesn't want to have kids now, you're not having kids now, and then you're on his timeline. It takes our power away. And we don't even have to get into the financial cost. Obviously, if you're waiting later and then you're trying to conceive later, of course there's going to be more cost, because if you aren't able to use your own eggs as you get older, or if you have a partner who's older and his sperm isn't as healthy, it's harder to conceive, and then you have to get into the fertility of it all, and then, you know what I mean? Then there's getting into embryo adoption or adoption, surrogacy. Like, there's so many more layers when we wait. And I think the biggest thing is losing ourselves in the waiting, like waiting for this person to come in and complete us. Again, we've all been sold that story, and it's hard not to believe it, right? How romantic, how beautiful to be like chosen and be so special and so loved and so whatever. And we can easily get like eaten up by that and forget everything else. And again, that being wanting a family or whatever it is that we want, we're putting it into, yeah, but he doesn't want that right now, so, you know, compromise and whatever. Not to say that you should never compromise, because of course in all relationships we compromise, but there's certain things that just women are put in a position where we often give up things that we want or our bottom lines for the man that we're with, because we're told that's what you do, to be a good woman, to be a good wife, to, you know, that's what you got to do, keep your man happy. And what does that cost us? It costs us our own happiness. It costs us our own timelines. It costs us a lot, and causes tons of heartache and sadness and all the stuff that obviously we already know. It's the emotional cost of waiting. It's all the things, putting yourself through the ringer. Like, oh, maybe it's me. Why aren't I desirable? Why doesn't he want to have kids with me? What's wrong with me? And we go down that rabbit hole of, you know, all that. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we need to start prioritizing ourselves. And, you know, we see like, I'll buy a house once I have my partner. I will do this, that, and the other thing once I have my person. And you can miss the boat. What if this person, and I'm not saying to scare you, but what if this person never comes and you're 70 years old looking at your life? Like, I waited for this person, and, you know, I was with Jim for, you know, 7 years, and, you know, we were happy, but we didn't want the same things. We fell out of love, and that's okay. But then I spent 10 years with Lucas, and, you know, I gave so much of myself to this relationship. And, you know, and then I've been single for the past whatever, and I think about those days when I wanted my own family. I thought about the way I wanted my life to be, and it's not in any way what I dreamed. And a lot of the root of that, especially for women, is that we have given our power away, or we've again put our eggs all in this person's basket. And a lot of times men don't do that. if you really look at things, most of the time men aren't giving up much. They're going out and they're having kids, and they are going out without really thinking about it, right? They're going out and having kids. They're going out and buying houses. They're going out and crushing their career because they want to be a provider. They're going out and checking all these things off. That they're going to traveling with their buddies or alone or whatever, and not thinking twice about it. But then you see a lot of it for women that it's like, okay, I'll just wait. I'll wait. And it's like, you can only wait so long. Why are we putting our lives on pause? So yeah, when I talk about being a solo mom by choice, it is not for everybody, and I understand that and I respect that. But I'm a huge advocate for doing what is right for you. Okay. And if you want to be a mom, there are ways to do that. And if you're like, listen, I'm never doing it on my own, not happening. But I do want to be a mom. It's just that I can't find my person right now and it's stressing me out and the dating apps suck and blah, blah, blah. Freeze your eggs. If you can, buy donor sperm and freeze embryos. Just in case. Again, it doesn't mean that you're doing anything. At least then if those frozen embryos are yours legally, because if you freeze embryos with a partner and then you separate, you both have, you have to fight over whose they are and that's a whole other thing that can happen. But yeah, and then, I'll talk a little bit about my own situation with how I had my first child with my ex and the cost of that, because a lot of people are like, okay, but I want to be a single mom by choice, but it's so expensive. It's crazy. Being a mom is expensive. Having children is expensive. Living nowadays is expensive. But I will say, if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to have a baby with my person and when I find them and yada, yada, and it's fine. There's no guarantees. And I'm not trying to say this to be like cynical or like a hater. I'm saying it to be honest with lived experience and with a lot of the women I have met over the years. And it's the cost of custody, divorce, family court stuff, like the price tag on that, not only like the money coming out of your wallet, I'm talking about the emotional and mental cost you pay for a family court battle from hell is unmatched. Like the worst experience of my entire life, by far. Okay, bar none. And I wish it upon no one. Even like, I don't have enemies, but somebody that I really, really heavily dislike would still not wish that upon them because it's absolute agony. And the cost in the end is 1,000 times more what it's going to cost to be a solo mom and have your peace, and you get to make the decisions. You don't have to fight about something. And if you want someone's opinion, you can ask girlfriends or other moms or in our community, or you can lean on people, but you don't have to depend on people. It's a very different feeling, let me tell you. As someone who's lived both experiences, it is so freeing to be a solo mom by choice, in that I don't have to ask permission. Like my holidays are not split up. I have my kids full time. Like it's so different. It's night and day. But yeah, so when you're really thinking about the cost of putting your life on hold, it is effing expensive. And a lot of times we don't realize how much we're putting on hold and how much we're holding our breath, waiting. Someone who decided to have my second as a choice mom using donor sperm, like I didn't realize until I had him how much I was holding my breath, waiting. Like I didn't want to just have an only child. I wanted my daughter to have family, literally just us. And I come from a relatively small family. So knowing that, I wanted my kid to have family. That's just, again, my preference is nothing, right? Just that's my preference. And knowing that drove me nuts because I'm like, I need to find somebody then. That was the thought, right? If you're going to have more kids, you need to have a partner. Like, what are you doing after my separation? And it was like, who do I date? Do I want to date? Like, I don't really want to date. Like, I didn't want a man in my life at that time. I just went through hell with my ex. But it was, I want a kid. And then thinking of the idea of choice motherhood, because my custody lawyer was actually the one that told me about it. Maybe I could actually do that. Like, why am I waiting for some dude? And like, my daughter's only getting older. Like, I don't want an enormous age gap between my two kids. And yeah, and then finally doing it, it was like, oh, this is what I wanted. I didn't want a partner, really. I wanted family. I wanted it to feel like we were a complete family. That is what I was longing for. And I know that now because there's almost zero moments where I'm like, you know what's missing? A man. A man is missing that way. So if you are living with your life on pause, take your finger off the pause button. Live your freaking life. And that sounds so annoying to say that, because honestly, if somebody would have told me that years ago, like I would have been like, what? But really think about it, okay? And if you're looking for community, you're looking for your girls that get you, that are doing things differently. Because so many of us, I think that's the hard part too, is so many of us have people around us that are doing the traditional thing or are very anti solo motherhood or breaking the rules, or, you know, it's like, you got to go to school, you got to get married, you got to get the house, you got to get the husband, you got to do the. And then when you're like, I think I'm going to do this, people are like, is she well? And it can feel like, am I well? Like, what's wrong with me? Why am I, you know? But if you have people around you that are like-minded, you very quickly realize that it's not you that's the problem. I'll just leave it at that. If you're longing for community, if you're longing for your girls club, your girlies that get you, I just recently opened up a girls chat called the Keep Him Collective over on Substack. You can check it out. Everything will be below, the links to come join us, whatever. There is a free tier and there is a paid tier, and there is the Founding Mother tier, which is the exclusive. You get to comment, you get to really be active in the chat. The reason for this is that I share a lot of things in there that I can't share openly with the public. Like this, I have to be a little filtered. Not that I don't share so much of my life, that you guys know everything, but there are certain things that, you know, it's for girl time. It's for like my girlies that are sitting here on the couch. You know, we can keep it a little bit more private and intimate. And I know that like we're just speaking amongst us. This stays between us kind of vibe. So I wanted to do that so I could have a space where I could be really, really candid and really open and share the stuff that I don't feel comfortable sharing with everybody in the world of social media. So it's amazing. It's been crazy blowing up over the past, I think it'll be 2 weeks by the time this comes out. We're already in the top 10% of the entire platform, which is crazy. The chat is popping off. The girls are fantastic. It's been so nice. And I'm already envisioning like girls retreats with all of us, that, you know, because you get to kind of get to know each other. So it's not weird if we go on a retreat, because we've all developed some kind of a friendship and a connection inside the chat. So envisioning us on retreats, envisioning us on, you know, Zoom calls and things like that, just all together in our jammies, just drinking a glass of wine or tea or whatever it is, and just getting together, because I've been longing for my own girl group with women that really get me and can understand where I'm coming from. And I don't have to worry about Jim from, you know, Michigan being like, you know, you're a crazy lady, F single moms, you're toxic, blah, blah. Like, I don't have to worry about his opinion because he's not invited. He's not there. He's not allowed to be present. You know what I mean? So it's truly a safe space where we can just like look with our girls and not have to worry about any of that. But yeah, if you want to check it out, I'd love to have you. And lastly, if you missed it, SMBC Conception Formula is 50% off until the end of this month for Black Friday. If you're really wanting a roadmap, like step by step, for conceiving as a single mom by choice, choosing your donor, all the stuff, and want that real like hand-in-hand guidance, you could check that out. Again, link will be below. That's until the end of the month. I hope you have an incredible week.